Ferrari, the price of perfection. Before we begin, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because today you're going to discover the true price of perfection. Many people look at a Ferrari and see only luxury, speed, and status. But what almost no one knows is that behind every roaring engine lies a story of pain, sacrifice, and an almost insane obsession with excellence. Ferrari wasn't born to be a car. It was born to be a legend. While the world chased profits, Enzo Ferrari chased an ideal. He didn't want to sell cars, he wanted to sell emotion. And it was this ambition that led him to challenge the limits of human reason. With each new model, the brand reaffirmed an uncomfortable truth. Perfection has a price, and not everyone is willing to pay it. What you are about to see is more than a story about cars. It's about the power, passion, and sacrifice of a man who transformed the impossible into a myth. The birth of a dream. Enzo Ferrari's vision. Enzo Ferrari didn't start by building cars. He started by building a vision. A man born in Modena, in the heart of Italy, who dreamed not only of racing, but of leaving the world breathless with the beauty and power of his machines. From an early age, Enzo understood that the car was more than just metal and engine. It was an extension of the human soul, a reflection of ambition and the pursuit of excellence. For him, every curve, every detail, every engine, sound needed to tell a story. Ferrari was, therefore, born from a restlessness, the desire not to conform to the ordinary. While others manufactured vehicles to transport people, Enzo wanted to manufacture emotions. He believed that true victory lay not only in the finish line, but in the feeling of power and freedom that the driver felt when accelerating. It was this philosophy that transformed a small workshop into one of the most admired and respected brands on the planet. An empire driven not by profit, but by passion. The curious thing is that, at the time, many doubted that such a romantic idea could survive in such a competitive market. But Enzo had something that others didn't. A vision so clear it bordered on stubbornness. He saw what no one else saw, and perhaps that's why he was the only one capable of creating something that transcended time, generations, and borders. And it was precisely this flame that ignited the beginning of a journey that was still far from reaching its peak. The obsession with perfection, when passion becomes sacrifice. Enzo Ferrari's genius always went hand in hand with his obsession. He accepted nothing less than perfection, and this, while making him a legend, also transformed him into a tormented man. In the corridors of the factory in Maranello, it was common to hear that working for Enzo was like driving at high speed. Exciting, but dangerous. Every detail was reviewed dozens of times, every engine sound was tuned like a symphony, and every flaw, however small, was seen as a personal insult. This relentless pursuit of perfection came at a high price. Engineers slept at the factory, mechanics lived under constant pressure, and Enzo himself, even in the face of victory, rarely smiled. He believed that perfection was a journey, not a destination, and therefore no one could ever become complacent. It was an intense, almost religious environment, where every tightened screw was an offering to the goddess of speed. But it was precisely this devotion that gave Ferrari a status that no other brand has managed to achieve, that of being synonymous with absolute excellence. However, behind each trophy also shone the weight of loneliness. Enzo's passion cost him friendships, time, and even love. He himself said that a man cannot serve two gods. Either he dedicates himself to his family or to his creation. And Enzo chose his work. A difficult choice, but one that would shape not only the history of Ferrari, but also the destiny of all who crossed his path. Because, in the end, perfection has a price, and his was still far from being paid. The prancing horse symbol, the force behind the legend. Few brands in the world carry a symbol as powerful as Ferrari's prancing horse. It wasn't born by chance. The emblem was inspired by the horse painted on the fuselage of an airplane piloted by Francesco Baracca, a hero of the First World War. After his death, the pilot's mother suggested to Enzo that he use the symbol as a good luck charm, believing it would bring him good fortune. And so, the horse that once flew through the skies began to race on the tracks, becoming the standard bearer of elegance, bravery, and speed. But what makes the prancing horse so iconic is not just its history. It's what it represents. The animal, standing on its hind legs, symbolizes contained strength, disciplined power, energy tamed by human ingenuity. Enzo understood that true luxury was not ostentation, but control. And this black horse, against the yellow background of the Modena flag, became a living metaphor for the Ferrari philosophy, wild in spirit but impeccable in form. Over time, the logo ceased to be merely a mark of origin and became a kind of spiritual identity. Wearing the prancing horse was, and still is, like belonging to an elite that seeks not only to win, but to win in style. The mere gleam of the emblem on the bodywork was enough to provoke respect, envy, and admiration. And, curiously, that small symbol would be the guiding thread that would lead Ferrari through the victories and tragedies to come. Racing against time, victories, tragedies, and redemption on the track. The racetracks have always been Ferrari's true battlefield. There, glory and tragedy walked side by side, separated by fractions of a second. Each victory was celebrated with the fervor of a divine conquest, but each accident left deep scars. Enzo Ferrari used to say that engines are like hearts. Sometimes they beat too hard and stop suddenly. And he knew what he was talking about. In every race, his drivers risked their lives to prove that Ferrari was not just a car. It was a force of nature. In the golden years of racing, the team collected trophies and tears in equal measure. Great names like Alberto Ascari, Gilles Villeneuve, and so many others became legends, some, unfortunately, for losing their lives piloting the machines that symbolized the pinnacle of speed. Enzo, however tough it seemed, suffered in silence. Each loss was a cruel reminder of the price of perfection, but he never stopped. For him, giving up would be betraying the legacy he built with sweat and blood. And it was precisely in this mixture of pain and triumph that Ferrari became more than a brand. It became a myth. With each new race, the red cars carried not only the hope of victory, but the weight of all the souls that had ever raced under the prancing horse. Speed, after all, is unforgiving, but it also doesn't wait. And Ferrari learned to dance with it, even knowing that at every turn, destiny could change forever. The modern Ferrari, luxury, exclusivity, and the myth that never dies. Today, owning a Ferrari is more than a status symbol. It's like holding a living piece of history in your hands. Each model produced in Maranello is a work of art that combines engineering, design, and soul. Few have the privilege of parking a Ferrari in their garage, and it's not just about money, but about belonging. Because buying a Ferrari is, in essence, being accepted into a select circle of dreamers who are not content with the ordinary. The brand has evolved, embracing technology and the future, but without ever abandoning the spirit of Enzo. The roar of the engines may have become cleaner and more efficient, but the emotion remains the same. When a Ferrari accelerates, the world seems to stop for a moment. It's as if perfection materializes before your eyes, a reminder that the impossible can be achieved when someone refuses to accept limits. Every curve continues to be a conversation between man and machine, a dance that echoes the legacy of decades of passion. Even in a world dominated by electric cars and artificial intelligence, Ferrari continues to defy time. Because it's not just about speed, it's about identity, emotion, and legacy. Enzo wanted to create something that would never die. And he succeeded. With each new model, the prancing horse gallops higher, reminding the world that perfection may have a price, but immortality, that is, priceless. Ferrari teaches us a powerful lesson. Perfection is not a destination, it's a daily choice. It's the result of those who decide not to stop at good enough and commit to the extraordinary. And perhaps that's the secret of those who reach the top. They never compromise their standards. The question is, are you willing to pay the price of your own perfection? Because success, like a Ferrari engine, requires high-octane fuel, discipline, vision, and purpose. If you want to learn how to apply these same principles to your financial life, I've left the details in the description. Ebook, The Principles for Getting Rich, with practical lessons that can completely change the way you think about money, mindset, and achievement. So go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to keep learning about millionaire mindset, luxury, history, and power. And remember, whoever understands the price of perfection also understands the value of true wealth.